Okay. So e-learning from last class. I want to make sure that this is clear for you. Now, at the beginning of the year, we looked at, you looked at, I asked you to look at, and we did, and there was some panic because it was 40 pages long. And I said at the time, you are not going to have to write a 40-page long response. You're not this. What you create will not have to be 40 pages. What you create is only going to be around 10. And what you're doing is you're going to take 4 books that you read over the course of the year and design a course around them. And sometimes I want to take this table and throw it across. Although it does make it sound like I'm doing magic, doesn't it? So at the bottom of this agenda is the link to that document, that 40-page document. ScholarWorks. Okay, ScholarWorks at Western Michigan. ScholarWorks is in a lot of schools. And so as we're kind of proceeding along, some of your searches within Google, you might add the word ScholarWorks. ScholarWorks, in this particular case, is providing us with an undergrad kind of final thesis project. Okay? But they will also include, there are some master's theses that will appear. And those folks are going to be experts. If you do your master's thesis on something and you're published to ScholarWorks, I'm going to consider you to be an expert because a master's thesis will often lead to a dissertation. And a dissertation will often lead to a chapter or a published book. So, what you have here is a 41-page model of what you're going to be doing. But you're doing a smaller version of that. Why? Because you're student. Okay. So, thinking about this, and this outline was created by me just going through Devin Ryan, that was his name, who wrote the Emerging Themes in Dystopian Fiction, and figuring out, okay, what are the things that you absolutely need to include? I want to see you able to do. And so it's an introduction to the idea that's driving the course, precedents for courses like this one, and that's where conversations about literary merit might come in, as I'm going to show you verbally. And then your course proposal, your 4 books, and then a nice addendum where you will provide an FRQ2 and an FRQ3 and a sample syllabus that will precede the conclusion, and then you'll give me your works cited page. Now, the works cited page, some people are freaking out about length, and I'll tell you right now, I've got some colleagues who shame me for the length, saying that you should be writing more. But realistically, there's like 130 some of you. They don't have 130 some students, and so I'm like, let's not be ridiculous. Let's take it easy. So the rule of thumb is typically 1 page per source, and I'm asking you for 13 sources. And here's where the generosity really shows up, because I'm only asking for 10 pages. And that includes, as I indicate here, your works cited page. It also includes your FRQ2 and your FRQ3 and the syllabus that you'll create. So it's really only 6 pages that you're going to have to write. That's your minimum. always go over. Okay? I will read what you give me. And then your 13 sources. 4 of those, by April, you're going to know and know well. So 4 of those are your independent novels or plays. And then your task for Valentine's Day, I am sorry. Yeah, it is Valentine's. Yeah, that is what it is. But we add those 3 sources. It will inform your annotated bib. And by the Feast of Lupercal, which is February 15th, Julie season, you get the reference? It's 1 month between the Feast of Lupercal and the Ides of March. Okay. By the Feast of Lupercal, you will have more than half of the necessary sources. Okay. So, in terms of an annotated bibliography, what is it that you're doing for this annotated bibliography? Hopefully, you looked up when I gave you the task, and I have to tell you, if I get snarky with you, okay, or if it feels like I'm getting short with you, it's not about you, okay? Please don't ever think if I'm being snarky or short with you. I know where you are, and sometimes I lose sight of kind of where you are and get snarky or short because I'm dealing with somebody else who I have to deal with here in the building who reminds me of my chemistry lab partner. Okay? My chemistry lab partner in high school was like, what do we do next? Mike, what do we do next? Read the directions, Barney. Okay? Just read the directions. That's what we do next. And so, you know, and I know kind of, you know, what you're thinking sometimes. And you get something like this and you just panic. Okay? And so if I got short with anybody, I apologize. Okay? So looking at this, what is it that you have to do? And I'm asking for 3 annotated bibliographies within 1 document. So it's this Roman numeral 2 that is your area of focus. But I gave you this link to Cornell. So Cornell offers the preferred description students are expected to use MLA format. So if you click on that, it tells you how to prepare an annotated bibliography. Oh, okay. So Cornell tells you how to prepare it, how to prep it. And ultimately what it is, it starts with what you would expect to find on a works cited page. Works cited bib stuff, that goes first. And then you give me a paragraph that is a summary. And then a paragraph of analysis that helps to explain ultimately, you know, how do you think this is going to help you? How is this going to help you? Help you. Sorry, did not mean to go. How will this help you? And so the thing that's odd about the annotated bibliography is that what you would expect to see on a works cited page for each article, each individual element gets its own piece, okay? And that bib stuff goes at the top. So it's just a little bit different. Some folks have asked me, why are we doing this? But it's not just that, okay? I don't want you to get to the university and have you be assigned an annotated bibliography and then you go, I have no idea how to do an annotated. Thanks, Mr. Coffee, for teaching me how to do it. So we're working on the annotated bibliography. I'm trying to show you where to go to figure out how to do an annotated bibliography. Purdue OWL 2 gives us some nice insights into annotated bibs. That's all their MLA stuff. I don't think I gave you the link. Conducting research, maybe it's in there. Might be in there. No. Boo. No. We'll look up specifically that. So if you go to Purdue OWL, Google Purdue OWL, and I'm fighting with my son about this because he's got to do APA for his biology science fair project. Purdue OWL, MLA, annotated. He's got a quote that's like super long. I said, dude, this needs to look different. And then, you know, he clicked, approved the note, but didn't make any changes. I said, you're ignoring me. Make the changes. Wouldn't you love to have an English teacher for that? I hated my dad reading my papers. He was not an English teacher, he was a lawyer. So why should I write an annotated bibliography and then the format? So give some definitions, give some explanation. Then there's an example. So they kind of walk you through, this is the annotation of the above source, which is formatted according to, after a brief summary, would be appropriate to assess the source. The length of the annotation will depend on, and so it kind of gives you a narrative that, you know, I did not want to go about reinventing the wheel. So look, use your resources. And then an annotated bibliography sample. A sample MLA annotation, and this is pretty short. And keep in mind, for all of this business, double space. And then on top of all that, okay? So, looking back at what you have to do for the 14th for Valentine's Day. Sorry. And this business, task 2. Provide one annotated bibliography of a source either affiliated with College Board directly or from a peer-reviewed or professional journal such as Allen Review. Regardless of source, it must offer an answer to one of the immediately preceding questions listed for task 2, which is, what should AP English literature course readings include, or what constitutes literary merit according to College Board? And so I'm going to give you an example of a source that is going to come from a totally different professional journal. By explaining to you, I want you to imagine that I'm doing this research. Okay? So I'm going to do mine on toxic relationships. And let's say that I read Jane Eyre and Wine Sargasso Sea and Othello. And I decide I'm going to read Stephenie Meyer's Twilight. That's my 4th book. Okay? But that does not appear, that has not appeared on that list that I gave you at the very beginning of the year. Never appeared on the AP exam. And so, you know, I've got this other task, an annotated bibliography of a course description or published undergraduate syllabus that helps me defend how or why my works belong together in a course. And then annotated bibliography of learning objectives. And that's going to be key. So now I'm dealing with, you know, the literary merit. Should AP English Literature course readings include Twilight? Would that qualify as literary merit according to College Board? And so I'm going to start kind of looking. I don't know. I mean, does a book that appears on the end cap at Martin's, does that qualify? You say no? Okay, so let's see. Wait for the jaw drop. for what I found. So this is how I found what I'm about to show you. I Googled Twilight, Stephenie Meyer, syllabus. See what happens. Okay. And first, I've got teaching Stephenie Meyer's Twilight Saga. It might be high school, okay? So I'm gonna just right click, open in a new tab. Shmoop, Stephenie Meyer's own website. Swarthmore, that's a university, isn't it? So I'm gonna right click on that one too. And some of that I need an ISBN. And yeah, I could go next, certainly. But you know, just the initial hits, what comes up? So teaching Stephenie Meyer's Twilight Saga. And this is coming from a journal. Academia.edu. I mean, that's another one that that you don't necessarily want to kind of turn your nose up. Kind of like ScholarWorks in some ways. Some of the academia.edu sources are pretty good. But there comes a point where I think you have to pay in order to be able to see, you know, or if you look at too many, like the New York Times, you're on, you've read 5 or 4 or 5 articles, you only have 1 left, so make it count. So this is Monsters and the Monsters, Volume 2, Number 2, and it looks like we're looking at just kind of a discussion of the article. Like an introduction to this article of teaching Stephenie Meyer's Twilight Saga. And within the second paragraph, right here. Whoa, stop doing that. Okay, second paragraph here. Or maybe it's the third. I can't tell what this is supposed to be. After several years of teaching and researching monstrous women, Christina Santos, one of our guest editors for this issue, developed a graduate course dedicated to the Twilight Saga. Ladies and gentlemen, a graduate course. Graduate students reading the Twilight Saga. Does that mean that it has literary merit? Maybe they're exploring its literary merit, but it's being read by graduate students. It's being explored academically by academicians. Is that a thing? That's a thing, right? By academy members, by intellectuals, by smart people. Okay? So this is a possibility. This allows me to kind of get at merit, and it fulfills this requirement here, this one, of it being from a peer-reviewed or professional journal. Okay? It's not quite, you know, a course description or published undergraduate syllabus, but I might be able to, you know, kind of chase some things down based on this. Look for specifically Christina Santos and the Twilight Saga. See what happens. But then, I mean, even if I'm doubtful about this, we get Swarthmore's The Phoenix, Ali Schultes, she's probably a student journalist. And we get Rutgers College's Vampires from Sin and Exile to Sex and Salvation, and Harvard's The Vampire in Literature and Film. Harvard! Is that Harvard? The Harvard? I think that's the Harvard. Okay? Reading Twilight. Ohio State, the Ohio State, the Ohio State. Public outcry at the inclusion of Twilight University was most recently sparked by Ohio State's syllabus for an honor seminar in fiction writing that was offered this past spring of 2011. Bloggers ridiculed the course's professor. I'm sure the professor was frightened by the bloggers. Resistance on the part of students. Natalie Anderson, professor of English literature, director of the creative writing program at Swarthmore, experienced student opposition to works like Dracula in a course taught in previous years. Literature of the fantastic. In other settings, works like Twilight are met with overwhelming enthusiasm. So, probably I wouldn't be able to use this necessarily to fulfill that literary merit business, but I might be able to see if I can search for some of those titles, see where Twilight shows up in terms of course description or syllabus, published syllabus. Published syllabus is, some professors are stingy. They don't want somebody stealing their, I'm just like without words. They're, yeah, it's not really the word that I wanted, but yeah. They're intellectual property. Okay. So, that was a lot of boom, 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 boom. This is what you got to do. It's okay. How many of you, who got stuck last week? How many of you got stuck? Anybody got stuck last week? Okay. So when I ask you, if I come to you in the parking lot, are you stuck? Can you use a hand? What are you going to say? Yes, please. Yeah, could you help me out? Okay. So there's going to be days that you get the whole block to work on stuff, and I'm going to come around. How's it going? How are things going? If you're stuck, don't say, fine. Let me know that you're stuck, that your tires are bald and you need some traction. Okay? Let me know so that I can help you. Hopefully, this was clarifying. That your eyes are now. What did Cordelia say? What did she say about her eyes? Or that now you've been through the storm. Well, of course, Gloucester. Now he can see. Now he can see. Now that he no longer has his eyeballs. Okay. So how many of you are feeling like you're seeing a little bit better right now? And that's okay too. All right? What? All right. Okay. We'll get you out. What? Okay. All right. So the rest of the time is going to be yours. I know it's only 17 minutes right now, but guess what? You're also going to get the 12. The whole block on the 12. The entire block on the 12 is going to be an opportunity for you to, and maybe you'll be done by the 12th. And if that's the case, could you look at this? Yes, I would be happy to. You need to fix this. Don't ignore me when I tell you to fix it. Don't be like my son. Okay? Do you need anything right now? What do you feel like you need right now? Yeah.
Right there?
No, that's just telling you that you have to do 3 bibliographies.
So the bibliography is just explaining one source.
Yep.
And why.
3 different sources.
Okay. So
Those are your 3 different sources. Okay. And you're creating an annotated bibliography for each one of those sources.
Wait, what? Finding one source for C, one source for B, and then one source for A.
Yeah, most people would go the other way.
That's what I meant. Sorry, your name is right there, I see. I'm like.
Just teasing you. Yeah, yes, exactly. One source for A, one source for B, one more source for C, which then you might be able to use for those 13 sources. Okay? They'll all go on one document. I am asking for that because I don't want you submitting like 3 different documents. Put it all on one document. And then in terms of what an annotated bibliography looks like, go to your Purdue OWL, which is there. And it shows you very specifically the annotated bibliography example just gives you a nice narrative of what you're going to have in there. Okay? Come on. Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, I said college board affiliate could be one. Anything else for right now? I'm coming.